Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and I am alongside Pratt Rogers. And just so everybody knows, we're recording this before signing day, so there's probably some stuff that's going to happen. So we're going to talk about the big weekend that was, obviously, and we're going to talk about some hypotheticals down the road, but we're probably not going to talk about Walter Nolan. And I know that's probably why everybody's tuning in to begin with, but it kind of is what it is. Listen, there's a ton of drama right now. There's a ton of drama right now going on, like the Walter Nolan stuff. And I just said, we can just talk about it. One of the moderators from the Georgia board said, this isn't happening for whatever we're. So I still think Walter Nolan, we're in good shape for that. And there's a ton of water left that can flow under the bridge, and a lot can happen between now and the time you watch this on Thursday. But Jake Rowe from UGAsports.com or whatever that is says he doesn't think that's happening, just for whatever it's worth. Anyway, this weekend, this was the best recruiting weekend as is that Ole Miss has ever had in recruiting, Pratt. It started with PRinc Ley, Miellen. It went to Tyler Barron and to Marion McDonald's. And then it went to Juice Wells. And now DeCameron Richardson is in the boat as well. This is a transfer portal week that we have not seen too many times.
So, look, I know you and I were talking about it, Stephen. First off, I think you've got to look at it through that lens. I think you're 100% right that this may be the biggest recruiting weekend in Ole Miss history. I know we were kind of texting back and forth, brainstorming, and I said, that weekend with A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Shea Patterson was just so electric. I think it was like mid-January. I remember I was in college, and I remember seeing A.J. Brown, and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the entire world. But it I think there were some headliner names in that, but obviously not everybody that showed up that weekend signed with Ole Miss. The examples I just gave ended up being Rebels. But this weekend, I feel like we went, 7 for 7, 8 for 8 on transfer portal commits, Stephen? That's unfathomable. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And when you add the high school flips that happened as well, Ole Miss Kavion Broussard from Zachary, Louisiana, flip from Miami. And then you have a flip from Texas A&M and Anthony Maddox. It's not just happening in the portal. Ole Miss is having good event after good event happening in the recruiting cycle as we speak.
Yeah, no kidding. And look, I sit there and say, sometimes I take the we are Ole Miss mentality. I'm still guilty of it, and I can't do that anymore. And I know that because this is a different leadership, a different coach, a different mindset, a different time frame. But so many good things are happening right now. It's almost hard not to be pessimistic and be like, oh no, what bad is going to happen? What NCAA violation are we committing? Something just terrible like that. And it's hard not to think like that. The 30 years of Ole Miss trauma sometimes comes out, but it really is hard to pick apart this weekend as anything other than excellent. 10 out of 10 by this coaching staff, 10 out of 10 by the Grove Collective. Applause all the way around to everybody.
The next phase of the transfer portal, and it's going to heat up after the dead period ends, which is about the 6th or 7th of January. That's when it's going to heat up again. But a player that just got in the transfer portal on Monday was Damani Jackson, which Damani means is Italian for tomorrow, by the way. He got in there. He was a top 5 player nationally in the 2022 recruiting cycle. He went to USC. His number 2 school that year was Alabama, who the defensive coordinator was Pete Golding. And today he just started playing around on Instagram, liking post by Jackson Dart, of all people, who they probably know each other from recruiting visits whenever Damani was a modern day prospect. but they never actually played together, but they probably do know each other. It's still kind of weird that somebody that they liked that post.
There's just like so much smoke about so many great athletes right now, Steven, that it's almost hard to keep up with. And it's a lot of it's true. I mean, you sit there and you say, "Oh, no way!" Like we all heard like the Richardson rumors from Mississippi State, like, man, maybe he jumps in the portal, and like what, 48 hours later he's a Rebel. I mean, you hear the smoke and you say, "Wow, that's kind of new news," and then all of a sudden something just happens. I mean, we get a commit, and you look up, and you don't even have time to blink with some of this stuff. So right now, I'm just taking everything on social media. It doesn't matter where the message boards, a friend of a friend, anything I feel like that is maybe just gossip right now. I feel like in the transfer portal, you have to at least keep your ear open to it, right?
Yeah, this is the way this worked, by the way. And I was the one that had the Princely and Monmielen stuff like 72 hours before anybody else. And this is the way this happened. Just like this. And this is the reason I'm taking this seriously. Princely liked a post by Lane Kiffin online. Just weird. But in that situation, I had 2 or 3 Florida people that were connected to the inner circle of that then agent of Princely, Monmielen, that kind of confirmed what we were thinking. Now, I do not have that with the Southern Cal kids. It's going to be difficult for me to get that. But this is starting the same way that Princely and Monmielen started. And that's the reason I think that everybody should take it seriously.
No doubt. And look, it's been said. I've seen multiple articles that Ole Miss is leading the charge in the collective. Ole Miss is all in on 24. I get why you go after these big name players, because you got to look at it like a hired gun right now. You go find a kid, plug a hole, and forget development in some aspects. I mean, I hate saying that. It's not really true, but I mean, we need a hired gun, and I get it. I get why these kids want to come to Ole Miss, and I get why we're continuing to reach out to guys. I mean, honestly, I was kind of surprised with the Juice Wells stuff, because I thought we already had the best receiving core in the nation. Then Juice pops, and I sit there and like, now we definitely have the best receiving core in the nation. But I mean, now it's vogue to go play for Ole Miss, and I think that kind of lends itself in our favor. I think people are reaching out to us. They're probably reaching out to Kiffin saying, "Hey man, y'all got a spot for a wide receiver, defensive back? What does that look like for me and y'all's offense or whatever?" I mean, I think those conversations are happening behind the scenes for sure.
Yeah, it should be really interesting with that. We are about a week and a half away from the Peach Bowl, Ole Miss versus Penn State in Atlanta. Going to be a big game. It's likely going to be a sellout. The creators of the Peach Bowl, they've expanded capacity for this game. We know about that. What are your thoughts going into a week and a half before the game?
My thoughts are, first off, we're ecstatic. But I feel like the Peach Bowl has become second nature right now. I mean, nobody's talking about the Peach Bowl. We're a top 11 team in the nation, and no one is talking about it because everybody's so excited for next year. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for me, I'm ecstatic to go to the Peach Bowl. I'm super excited because, like I said, I'll be there. But I mean, I think the Rebs stand a really good chance. I think it'll be a good game. I think we end up winning. I really do. I'm confident in this team. But I mean, it's not on the forefront of anybody's mind this week, Stephen.
Yeah, and I think that's going to start to change once we get through Wednesday, or once we get through yesterday. As people are watching this video, you're going to start to see people switching their mindset over to the Peach Bowl, because recruiting, the transfer portal, since nobody can visit, it's going to slow down to a crawl. And after the high school kids sign and get that going, I guess the story, as people are watching this right now, is what is up with Braylon Burnside, because we don't know, even though he likely already signed with the school that he's going to go to. But he's announcing at the Under Armour game in a couple of weeks, and we're going to get ready for the game. Because I was thinking about Monday. Monday starts my game week show. It's my last game week of the year where I do keys and all of that stuff. And I'm starting to put that together in my mind. But you're right. We got to get through signing day first. And then I think attention is going to move over that direction.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, right now everybody's living moment by moment, second by second, and there is no thought to what's coming about next week or 10 days from now. It's 2 weeks, whatever it is. Nobody is even giving any consideration to that. It's more along the lines of, hey, how are we going to finish this transfer portal window? And a lot of questions I've been getting, and Steven, while we're on this topic, you probably have a better insight than I do. What exactly does the dead period entail? Because people are saying, oh, we're not going to be able to get any commits during the dead period. I don't think that's 100% true.
No, that is not true. Basically, all a dead period means is they can't come on campus. You can call them on the phone and do whatever and stuff like that, but they can't come on campus. And since they can't come on campus, it is going to slow everything down. The whole idea is to give staffs a little bit of a break. And from now into the coaching clinic to where they're not doing 800 different things. But that's the quiet period. Like every now and then you'll hear a quiet period. Quiet period, if I'm not mistaken, means no contact, no anything. It's completely dead period and quiet period is backwards.
I was going to say, I think I had those reversed. I think I thought the dead period was no contact and quiet period was no visits to campus. I'm glad you clarified that. I think I had that backwards, but yeah, I mean, quite frankly, our staff deserves more than just a few weeks of rest. They have been at it, and they deserve kudos and well done.
All right, Christmas time is coming in like 72, 96 hours, something like that, depending on when you're watching this. What are your Christmas plans, Pratt?
Christmas plans? Do a lot of deer and duck hunting with family, I hope. Like I mentioned, definitely Peach Bowl. Watching a lot of Ole Miss basketball right now. I know we don't talk about that on the show as me and you as much. We typically touch on football and recruiting, but really excited.
I'm sure that'll change.
Yeah, I'm really excited about basketball, and that's been great, but nothing super exciting for us, Steven. We're just going to be in town hanging out. What about y'all?
I will be in town also for the Peach Bowl. I hate to put you on the spot with everybody watching. When we do the pregame show for the Peach Bowl, why don't you use the phone? Come on the show.
All righty, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, that's an NFL venue. Then their internet should be good enough to where we can pull it off.
All right, well, we'll give it a try. We'll be texting in the stadium. Yep, I can handle that. Yep, no doubt. That would be cool.
Yeah, because I have Brad Logan, who's going to come on the pregame show as well, who's going to be there from that area, in that area. So it should be pretty.
Yeah, I would like to meet him. I'd listen to all his stuff too. He does a great job. So yeah.
And the week after Christmas, I am going to try and get like Michael Katz and David Eckert and those guys to come on the show just to kind of blow that out and turn that into an end of year celebration type thing.
Well, that is awesome. Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Would love to do that with you. I appreciate it. That's not putting me on the spot. That is totally cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll get that set up a little bit next week because we're going to talk again before you go. So we can handle that. Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Pratt Rogers joining the show every week like he always does. We're getting closer to the Peach Bowl. We're at a stopping point at the moment in recruiting. I think all things are good right now, Pratt.
All things are better than good, man. And I'm glad to get on here and talk to you about it. So appreciate you having me and look forward to circling up soon.
Also, real quick before we get out of here, congratulations on the Thunder and Lightning podcast. That is
pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, that is weird, man.
I know, kind of crazy, but I tried to plug the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I think there's probably some rivalry there that hadn't happened, but Ole Miss Mississippi State rivalry that hadn't happened yet. But hopefully, we can have a meeting of the minds at some point.
Yes, if anybody's listening to this show that is a Mississippi State fan and you're a podcaster, try to get a Locked On Mississippi State show. I mean, it's crazy.
Go do it.
That is the only team that does not have a Locked On show in the network. Even Vanderbilt has one at this point.
Terrible.
It's nuts.
Terrible.
Anyway, Pratt, thank you, buddy. Howdy,
all right, buddy. See ya. Bye.